Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 578 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin moved forward and appeared above the Pill Sea. Below him was the invisible restriction. With the restriction there, he wasn't worried about being found by the cultivators inside the restriction. But Wang Lin was still very cautious and hid his aura. He moved like a ghost as he flew toward the other side of the Pill Sea. With a few steps, Wang Lin merged with the world and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was in the sky near the Green Devil continent. Here, even the sky had a large amount of Green Devil continent cultivators. These cultivators all had varying cultivation levels. Most of them were at the second step, while a few were third step cultivators. There weren't many of them, but they still could be seen every now and then. When they passed, their divine senses swept the area as if they were guarding against something. As more and more Green Devil continent cultivators appeared, Arcane Void cultivators appeared, causing Wang Lin to move even slower. After pondering a bit, he dove down into the invisible restriction below. His eyes were filled with bloodlines as he immersed himself in the fog. Wang Lin had the restriction essence. At this moment, he could copy the restriction around the Pill Sea with his restriction essence, so he was confident he wouldn't be noticed in a short period of time. After entering the seventh layer of the fog, Wang Lin carefully moved within the fog to find the compass that was the center of this restriction. As he got closer to the Green Devil continent, more and more Green Devil continent cultivators flew by above him. These cultivators were often in groups of dozens. They often had serious expressions as they flew by. There are at least tens of thousands of cultivators here. With so many cultivators, if they say they aren't invading the Heavenly Bull continent, no one would believe them. Wang Lin turned into fog, then he looked up at the Green Devil continent cultivators above him and sighed. The slaughter between sects and cruelty between the continents was the same everywhere. It was like this in the cave world, and the immortal astral continent was the same. There were no laws in this world. The ones that existed were there because powerful cultivators existed to suppress everyone, so they didn't dare to have other thoughts. While silently pondering, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he looked up. He felt a powerful fluctuation from the distance. This didn't come from a cultivator but a treasure. When he looked over, 100 Green Devil continent cultivators flew by. There were 4 Arcane Void cultivators, with 1 in each side, acting like escorts. In the center of this team, there was a giant drum about 1,000 feet large. This drum was completely black and even its surface was black. A large amount of fierce beasts were sticking out from its sides and a gloomy aura spread out. There were countless resentful souls around the drum. They let out silent roars that formed invisible ripples that spread out. This drum seemed to be very heavy. There were nearly 100 cultivators using their full cultivation to carry it, but they were flying forward slowly. The moment Wang Lin saw the large drum, his eyes narrowed. He turned into gas and remained motionless. He clearly felt a cultivator hiding inside the big drum. This cultivator seemed to fuse with Wang Lin, and when it passed above Wang Lin, divine sense spread out from it. After scanning the area, it slowly left. After the 100 cultivators left, Wang Lin looked at the vague outline of the drum and began to ponder. A treasure that is fused with a cultivator. After this, Wang Lin saw 8 of the same drum. He also saw other large treasures that were obviously used for large-scale slaughter between sects. These treasures were all nearly 1,000 feet large. Shocking auras spread out from them, forming a pressure. I can't stay here for long. I must finish the battle as soon as possible and leave. Wang Lin's heart pounded, but this just made him more calm. He fused with the restriction and slowly moved closer to the Green Devil continent. Here, he felt the presence of the center of the restriction. It's just ahead. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he moved through the fog. Soon, he saw 3 flags that pierced in the sky. These 3 flags moved with the wind and flapped in the air. Ripples echoed from them. They were clearly extraordinary. Under the 3 flags, there were a beautiful-looking woman. She was holding a compass in her hand and was currently frowning as she looked at it. Next the woman, Wang Lin saw someone he had met before. It was the young man with the white jade-like face. He was holding a fan in his hand and was looking down at the sea. It was unknown what he was thinking about. There were hundreds of green-robed cultivators around them. They were like guards and remained motionless as they cultivated with their eyes closed. Including the woman, no one knew that Wang Lin was in the 7th layer of the invisible restriction above them. Wang Lin coldly looked at them and especially at the compass in the woman's hand. That's the compass. Once I obtain it, I won't need to hide inside the fog layer. It is the only thing that can know I entered the pill sea. Wang Lin had the restriction essence and had studied this restriction for a bit, so he knew that the key to this restriction was that compass. Only with the compass in hand would no one know he had entered the pill sea. Then he could find Void Cloud, kill him, and escape safely. The compass was also the key to finding Void Cloud. It was very difficult to find a single person in this vast pill sea, and he could only rely on the compass. However, this was a difficult situation. If he wanted to obtain the compass, he would still have to come out, then the people below would know he had arrived. Everything must be fast. I can't allow one of them to leave and I can't allow that woman to send the information out. Wang Lin frowned as he looked at the 100 cultivators below and the 3 large flags. Those 3 flags should be a protective device. It's going to be a bit difficult. Wang Lin remained motionless in the mist as he looked below and began to ponder. Under the 3 big flags, the woman looked at the compass in her hand and frowned even harder. Strange, it is clear that there are no foreign cultivators left, but there are still layers of ripples appearing. It is clearly something the restriction is doing on its own when it detects something abnormal. The compass in the woman's hand was filled with green dots and was without a single white dot, but there was a constant wave of fluctuation like ripples on the water's surface. The woman's eyes lit up. Her left hand continued to form seals that landed on the compass, but she still found nothing. Her actions caught the attention of the young man with the fan next to her. He stepped forward to look at the compass and smiled. Don't be so paranoid. With senior brother Void Cloud here, everything will be fine. The woman silently pondered for a moment and nodded. Senior brother Void Cloud has already acted, and soon the pill sea will disappear. Then we can see the power of the legendary half-celestial pill. The woman looked up into the distance. Wang Lin was inside the fog in the sky and vaguely heard what they were talking about. He also noticed some clues from their expressions, and his heart skipped a beat. However, just at this moment, a thunderous rumble came from the pill sea, and it began to surge violently. The waves began to rage across the sea. 9 vortexes appeared at different points across the pill sea. The vortexes were rotating slowly, but a heaven-shattering roar echoed. Senior brother has begun. The woman stopped looking at the compass in her hand and looked into the distance with expectation in her eyes. At the same time, a group of about a dozen cultivators flew out from the sea and flew toward where the woman was. This was a group of Green Devil soldiers that had followed the woman's order and were returning. These more than a dozen Green Devil soldiers quickly flew across the sky. They didn't attract the attention of the woman or the cultivators around her. It was clear that this kind of movement was very common. No one noticed that there was a flash of ghostly light in Wang Lin's eyes as he hid in the restriction fog in the sky. He turned into a strand of smoke. The moment the group of Green Devil Continent cultivators flew by, he rushed out and entered the ear of one of the cultivators. The moment he entered, the cultivator paused for a moment and his eyes revealed a glint of confusion. However, the confusion was soon replaced with calmness, and he quickly closed in on the 3 flags and the woman below. However, the moment Wang Lin charged out from fog and entered the ear of the cultivator, the compass in the woman's hand trembled a bit as if it was giving a warning. The woman immediately looked down, but by the time she looked down, everything was over. The young man next to the woman noticed the change in her expression and quickly asked, "What's the matter?" "Something is wrong." The compass trembled by itself as a warning. It should be because a non-Green Devil Continent cultivator has entered the pill sea. The woman's expression was very serious. "This person is good at hiding and I can't find him right away. Senior brother Zhao, help me. I'm going to reverse the compass to see what happened at that moment." The young man with the white jade-like face raised his right hand and placed it on the woman's back without hesitation. The woman took a deep breath and her eyes revealed a strange light. She stared at the compass in her hand and, using the method her teacher had taught her, her left formed a seal and pointed at the compass. She didn't notice the more than a dozen Green Devil continent cultivators that she had sent out and were returning. They got closer and closer to her. A hidden gaze of killing intent loomed within these dozen cultivators. The compass in the woman's hand began to blur as she continued to place seals on it. It was about to reverse time and reveal the scene of Wang Lin turning into smoke and taking over one of the green-robed cultivators. At this moment, the group of cultivators Wang Lin was in was still 10,000 feet from the woman. The cultivator Wang Lin was in stepped forward and moved past several cultivators. As they looked at him in shock, he arrived behind the cultivator at the front of the group. The cultivator at the front was a middle-aged man at the third step, around Nirvana Void. He seemed to notice something and turned around. The eyes of the cultivator Wang Lin was controlling revealed a strange light and a strange of smoke came out of his forehead and entered the eyes of the middle-aged man. All of this happened very quickly. When it happened, the middle-aged man's body trembled and revealed a hint of struggle. However, the struggle soon dissipated and was replaced with calmness. The woman staring at the compass also trembled. The compass in her hand began to tremble violently. Just as it was about to reveal what had happened, the middle-aged man Wang Lin had taken over charge toward the woman that was 10,000 feet away. "I found a drop of black liquid and I don't know what it is," the middle-aged man said in a hoarse voice before flying more than 1,000 feet. When the cultivators that were sitting there opened their eyes, the middle-aged man took out a drop of black liquid and it flew forward. The moment the drop of black liquid appeared, a powerful surge of water essence appeared. The moment the woman heard the middle-aged man's voice, she looked up and saw the drop of black liquid. Her pupils suddenly shrank. 10,000 refined corruption liquid. The woman's eyes were filled with shock. Borrowing the moment of shock, the middle-aged man controlled by Wang Lin flew several thousand more feet. He was now only a few thousand feet from the woman. However, just as he got within 1,000 feet, the three flags caused ripples to echo and let out a loud whistling sound. At the same time, the compass in the woman's hand clearly showed the scene of Wang Lin turning into fog and entering the ear of the middle-aged man. "Stop!" The woman's heart trembled and she let out a scream. She was about to retreat, and the young man with the white jade-like face was also filled with fear. "Essence, scatter!" The moment the woman screamed, the middle-aged man controlled by Wang Lin let out a roar. His body collapsed and a strand of smoke came out and turned into Wang Lin. The moment Wang Lin appeared, the black liquid he had flicked at the woman exploded. The black ink-like liquid quickly spread, and everything within 10,000 feet became black. The hundreds of cultivators had just realized what happened when they let out miserable screams. Their bodies rapidly decayed and instantly turned into black liquid. Even the more than a dozen green-robed cultivators behind Wang Lin couldn't escape from the black ink in time and all died. At the same time, a roar came from behind Wang Lin. The Yi Sai puppet that had lost its right arm charged out toward the three flags. There was a loud bang as Yi Sai broke one of the flags and charged toward the remaining two. All of this happened the moment the woman said, "Stop." Wang Lin stepped forward and closed in 1,000 feet in an instant as the woman and the young man retreated. The young man recognized Wang Lin and was terrified. The woman pressed her left hand on the compass and was about to report it to the others. Wang Lin suddenly raised his right hand and pointed at the two of them. "Stop!" With one word, countless threads filled the world and wrapped around the woman and the young man. Their bodies trembled and were completely stopped by Wang Lin. The young man's fear was solidified and the woman's left hand was less than an inch from the compass but was frozen in the air. Wang Lin closed in instantly and took the compass from the woman. There was no mercy in his heart as his left palm landed on the woman's forehead. The woman's body turned into a mist of blood and even her origin soul collapsed with it. Wang Lin waved his sleeve and a gust of wind blew the blood mist toward the young man. As the blood mist shrouded the young man, Wang Lin swung his hand and there was a flash of blood light. The blood sword followed and cut off the young man's head. It was also at this moment that a thunderous rumble echoed and the second and third flags were broken by Yi Sai's left arm. All the black ink within 10,000 feet shrank like crazy back into a drop of black liquid before Wang Lin, and he swallowed it back into his body. Everything ended. Hundreds of cultivators were dead. The woman and the young man named Zhao were dead as well. Even the 3 large flags were destroyed. Wang Lin's face was slightly pale. He wanted everything to finish quickly. He put away Yi Sai and disappeared into the sea. Inside the sea, Wang Lin quickly charged forward. He held the compass and his divine sense rushed inside. His eyes were filled with blood lines as his restriction essence rushed in. He wiped the divine sense off the compass, making it his own. If it was someone else, they wouldn't have been able to do this, but Wang Lin had the restriction essence, so he could do it. With the compass in hand, he controlled the restriction above the Pill Sea. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he carefully swam through the Pill Sea and carefully looked at the compass. He could see that inside the Pill Sea, there were only 3 to 5 green dots, and one of them was extremely dazzling. The remaining green dots were all above the sea. It was obvious that it was inconvenient to stay inside the sea when Void Cloud was refining it. Staring at the dazzling, green dot, killing intent appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. Void Cloud, you're next. Wang Lin merged into the restriction formation and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was at the center of the Pill Sea. Just as his body appeared, he noticed the sea around him rotating, and thunderous rumbles echoed. He felt like he was going to be pulled along with the sea. Looking at the compass, he was not far from Void Cloud. However, Wang Lin looked around at the sea that was being pulled. Perhaps I don't need to give up the 30 million Dao souls, Wang Lin pondered and no longer moved forward. Instead, he sank into the bottom of the sea and hid himself. Monstrous waves seemed to set off across the Pill Sea while the rumbles continued. 8 vortexes rotated along the edges, with the 9th vortex in the center of the Pill Sea. This vortex rotated faster and faster. Soon, the 8 vortexes gathered up the sea and began to rotate with the 9th vortex as the center. Deep within the 9th vortex sat Void Cloud. His face was a bit pale and his hands continued to form seals. Rumor has it that the Pill Sea was formed when a celestial pill landed here. However, the truth is that it wasn't a full celestial pill, only half of one. Void Cloud's eyes lit up and his right hand reached toward the void before him. Pill Sea, condense. With a bang, the vortexes began rotating even faster. As they condensed, the sea decreased in size and strands of celestial energy spread out. The Pill Sea was like a basin, and at the center was a giant vortex pulling in the water. In the sky, tens of thousands of Green Devil Continent cultivators looked below. They were waiting for Void Cloud to condense that half a celestial pill to break open the barrier around the Heavenly Bull continent. Wang Lin was also hiding inside the vortex. He was waiting for Void Cloud to condense the celestial pill before launching his attack. Time slowly passed. Void Cloud couldn't observe his surroundings at all. The tens of thousands of cultivators in the sky were all focusing their attention on Void Cloud. No one expected any Heavenly Bull Continent cultivators to remain in the Pill Sea after purging it many times. With the restriction here, there was no need to worry about what was happening inside. Even at this moment, no one noticed that the 3 large flags had been broken and that the compass had changed owners. At this moment, their gazes were all drawn by Void Cloud. After all, there was nothing more important than watching one of the 4 geniuses, Void Cloud, refine the Pill Sea into the celestial pill. Even Void Cloud didn't expect Wang Lin to return after leaving. He was inside the 9th vortex with a serious expression on his face, and his hand formed a seal, causing the vortex to rumble. The vortex quickly shrank from its endless size to less than 1 million feet. The sea water in the giant Pill Sea was refined into a vortex of 1 million feet. This scene excited the Green Devil Continent cultivators in the sky. Void Cloud revealed a smile. He took a deep breath and let out a roar at the sky as his cultivation erupted. His cultivation was very strange. Even at this moment, it was impossible to feel his exact cultivation level. One could only feel a powerful surge of sword energy. A sword intent surrounded the area. Teacher allowed me to come to form the celestial pill from the pill C to push my reputation one step above the other three. Then, as the #1 genius in the Eastern continent, I am to head to the imperial capital in the central continent to obtain the qualification to enter the ancestral temple. Void Cloud's eyes lit up. The 1 million feet of sea water began to condense once more into 500,000 feet, then it shrank again to 300,000 feet. If one looked down from the sky, only 300,000 feet of area was covered in water. Seaweed and coral were revealed, and the numerous beasts in the sea exploded. The thunderous rumbles echoed across the entire Pill Sea. Void Cloud was very serious as his hands continued to form different seals. The 300,000 feet of sea water condensed once more to 100,000 feet. Void Cloud's face was pale. Even for him, this was no small burden. When the sea condensed to 100,000 feet, he waved his right hand and a jade bottle appeared. He crushed the bottle and a drop of golden liquid flew out. The moment this drop of golden liquid appeared, dense celestial energy appeared. The celestial energy was so dense, it felt like it was solid. Void Cloud took a deep breath and waved his right hand. The drop of golden liquid flew toward the sea vortex before him. The Pill Sea was formed by a celestial pill. Many people know this. Many people have wanted to refine it back into the celestial pill, but no one has succeeded because they were missing a primer. The primer is this drop of golden liquid. Void Cloud smiled. This drop of golden liquid was very precious. It was something the Green Devil continent had found after searching for countless years. This used to belong to the celestial pill that made the Pill Sea. Without it, it would be impossible to reform the celestial pill. 100,000 feet would be the limit. Many people had to stop at 100,000 feet and couldn't condense it anymore. The sea water would disperse and then turn back into the Pill Sea. But this time, since he, Void Cloud, had decided to act, he was fully prepared and wouldn't allow any mistakes. I'll personally refine the celestial pill and destroy the barrier around the heavenly bull continent. This should be enough to become famous across the immortal astral continent. Void Cloud smiled and the water before him changed drastically after absorbing the drop of golden liquid. The sea seemed to boil and began to churn violently. It suddenly shrank from 100,000 feet, breaking this threshold, and turned into 50,000 feet, 30,000 feet, 10,000 feet. The smaller it condenses, the more powerful the celestial pill will be. 10,000 feet isn't enough. Void Cloud closed his eyes and a startling sword intent spread out from his body, covering the sea vortex. This was him fully integrating his divine sense into the sea vortex without holding anything back. Thunderous rumbles echoed. As all the cultivators in the sky watched, the 10,000 feet of sea water shrank to 8,000 feet, 5,000 feet, 3,000 feet. This was not over yet, it was rapidly shrinking toward 1,000 feet. As it shrank, the vortex of sea water could no longer be seen clearly. In an instant, half a celestial pill began to form inside. However, at this moment, no disturbance was allowed because this was the last stage of condensing this half a celestial pill. The pill was extremely unstable, and if it were disturbed, it would likely explode early. The consequences of that would be unimaginable. This was why the Green Devil continent had cleared out the entire Pill Sea, to make sure nothing could go wrong before Void Cloud acted. However, because of the restriction, no one knew of Wang Lin's existence. This restriction now belonged to Wang Lin. If he wanted to hide himself, then no one could detect him inside the formation. Void Cloud was about to succeed, but at this moment an aura appeared from the seaweed below him. This aura was Wang Lin, and the instant he appeared, he took a step forward. He instantly disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was outside the 1,000 feet of sea water Void Cloud was going to refine back into the celestial pill. Although Wang Lin had appeared very suddenly, countless divine senses locked onto him instantly. Some of the people in the sky immediately noticed him. Their expressions changed and they charged at Wang Lin. Although they were fast, Wang Lin was faster. He merged with the restriction and appeared outside the 1,000 feet of sea water Void Cloud was refining. He raised his right hand and the blood sword appeared and sliced down. He wasn't slicing toward Void Cloud but the 1,000-foot sea vortex. Stop! Shocking roars came from the sky to deter Wang Lin, but Wang Lin's will was not something they could stop. Void Cloud had focused himself completely in the sea water, and it was very difficult to divide his attention. Wang Lin had also appeared very suddenly, his timing was exceptional. But Void Cloud didn't become one of the four geniuses by accident. As Wang Lin's sword descended, he actually opened his eyes and looked up. When he saw Wang Lin, he didn't have time to be shocked. He immediately bit his tongue to spit out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, his divine sense rapidly withdrew from the sea water. That mouthful of blood immediately turned into a sword shadow and collided with the blood sword. There was a loud bang as they collided. Blood flowed out from the corner of Wang Lin's mouth and the blood sword was knocked back. Void Cloud's face was pale and the sword shadow formed by the blood exploded. "It's you." Void Cloud's expression was fierce and his divine sense rapidly withdrew. Once his divine sense returned, he could free up his body to battle Wang Lin. He just needed to delay Wang Lin for a few moments for the hundreds of cultivators above to descend. Then it would be very difficult for Wang Lin to escape. But Wang Lin had waited for a long time, and he always planned several steps ahead, so how could he let Void Cloud escape? He had accounted for all possibilities, including the time it would take for the cultivators above to arrive. The restriction was in Wang Lin's hands, and with Wang Lin's control, they couldn't merge with the restriction, they could only fly toward Wang Lin. However, as they closed in, the restriction suddenly changed from only being able to enter, to only being able to leave. The restriction also shrank greatly and appeared before the hundreds of descending cultivators. The hundreds of cultivators slammed into the restriction and were blocked. However, the impact caused the restriction to tremble and show signs of breaking. However, Wang Lin didn't want to trap them, he just needed time. With the formation delaying them, it was enough. The moment Void Cloud's divine sense was about to withdraw from the water, Wang Lin's blood sword was knocked back. However, his fire essence true body appeared, caught the blood sword, and cut down once more. With this, a sea of fire filled the area, and the timing was extremely good. It came directly after the first strike, and although the first strike had collapsed, the second strike was the real attack. This strike closed in. Void Cloud's eyes were bloodshot, and he let out a roar as the strike cut into the sea vortex. When the vortex was cut, it stopped rotating. A destructive aura came from the 1,000 feet of sea water. This aura felt like it could destroy the world countless times over. It was powerful enough to kill everything in sight. Void Cloud still had some of his divine sense inside the sea water. When the sea water was cut, the destructive aura spread out and his divine sense inside was destroyed, causing him to cough out blood. He retreated without hesitation, and at this moment, he no longer cared about Wang Lin or the sea water. Although he had come here with his avatar, if this avatar died and his sword intent collapsed, his original body would suffer a blow that would be difficult to recover from. Also at this moment, the hundreds of cultivators charging down and the army of tens of thousands of cultivators trembled. They felt a destructive aura that could wipe out all life spreading out in all directions, ignoring the restriction. The celestial pill is going to explode. In an instant, the tens of thousands of cultivators lost their wits and began to desperately escape. They wanted to fuse with the formation and leave, but with Wang Lin controlling the formation, none of them could leave. Wang Lin turned around without hesitation and took a step toward the heavenly bull continent. Ripples echoed and he was about to disappear. But just at this moment, the 1,000 feet of sea water released a thunderous rumble that spread across the Pill Sea and reached both the Heavenly Bull continent and the Green Devil continent. The countless cultivators in the sky coughed out blood and their ears buzzed. Void Cloud staggered and his eyes were filled with despair. "I will not let this go." As he roared, the 1,000 feet sea of water suddenly exploded. The sky distorted, the earth trembled, and an indescribable force of destruction spread out. The celestial pill exploded early. It should have exploded near the Heavenly Bull continent. It would break the barrier around the Heavenly Bull continent while shaking its foundation. A large portion of the Heavenly Bull continent would disintegrate and cause a great deal of damage. But at this moment, the celestial pill exploded at the center of the pill sea. As a result, the heavenly bull continent was not the only one that was damaged, the green devil continent suffered as well. Void Cloud was far too close. Even though he was running like crazy, he was still too close to the destructive force. Although his sword intent was powerful, before this destructive force, he collapsed with no chance of fighting back. Wang Lin merged with the world and was about to leave when the destructive force swept by like a giant mouth that was going to devour all life. As it closed in, Wang Lin's body disappeared ahead of time. Wherever the destructive force swept, the earth collapsed, revealing the dark void below. This destructive force instantly swept by the entire Pill Sea, and the Pill Sea disappeared. Then the destructive force smashed into the Heavenly Bull continent and the Green Devil continent at the same time. Rumble, 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 rumble. The entire Heavenly Bull continent trembled. A sound like a mirror cracking rang out, and then the barrier around the Heavenly Bull continent collapsed. The Green Devil continent suffered the same. A thunderous rumble echoed as the earth cracked and mountains collapsed. A giant phantom of a bull seemed to appear above the Heavenly Bull continent, and it let out a silent roar toward the Green Devil continent. Shortly after, a giant green scorpion that shrouded the entire Green Devil continent let out a silent hiss to match the giant bull's roar. This video will end here.